This entitled mom makes a poor kid throw away all his fishing bait because she's worried about the welfare of the fish. When she comes back for round 2, his anxiety peaks. But what her son does to this seagull will leave you shocked. Happy birthday if today's your birthday, and on with the show. I was around 13 years old. My family and I were spending some time camping at a place in Maryland. My younger brother and I were fishing on the pier when a lady arrived with her son. I was currently baiting my hook with a live minnow when I heard a shrill voice behind me.
Oh my gosh, do your parents realize what you're doing out here?
Me looking around trying to figure out what was going on.
Yes, you.
She glares at me through her dark, oversized sunglasses. I was raised to be incredibly respectful to adults, so I gave her my full attention and put my pole down on the dock.
What are you doing to that poor animal?
I'm sorry, ma'am. I was still really confused.
Let them go. What's wrong with you?
I finally realized that she was talking about the minnows in my bucket. Okay. I then dumped the bucket and released the minnow on the hook.
Where are your parents? Are they around here?
No, ma'am. They're at our campsite.
Take me there now. They need to know about this.
I was panicking at this point. I was entirely convinced that I was in trouble for something. I picked up my things and began up the pier. At that point, the booming voice of a man interjected. It was like an old biker dude who was fishing nearby.
Hey lady, what the heck is wrong with you?
The entitled mum was momentarily speechless.
Leave the kid alone. He's just fishing, lady.
Why would you talk to me like that?
She began to tear up.
Come on, EK, let's go.
I continued to fish with my brother once the biker dude assured me that I wasn't doing anything wrong. He told me not to worry about it. We enjoyed our day for a while until EK showed up. He was probably a few years older than me, and he was carrying a Game Boy Advance. He sat at the end of the pier and seemed to be minding his own business. My brother was fishing with a crankbait. It's sort of an artificial swimming lure, for those readers not aware. That'll be important in a moment. Then I noticed EM walking down the pier with a bag of bread. She pretended not to notice me or the biker dude, likely out of embarrassment. Her and EK proceeded to chuck little bits of bread in the water around the pier. A huge flock of seagulls appeared from every corner of the bay. I could see how annoyed everyone was. I know I was. Biker dude looked like he wanted to say something, but I don't think he was interested in a confrontation with EM. As I did my best to concentrate among the chaos, I hear the ear-piercing shriek of EM. She was screaming because my brother had hooked a seagull that must have mistaken his crankbait for a real fish. I immediately jumped to action. I began to coach my younger brother so he could get the gull to the pier and safely release it. Then I saw EK approach us out of the corner of my eye. I noticed he had a knife. No, don't! It was too late. The line was cut and the seagull escaped with at least 30 yards of monofilament dangling from its legs. I finally had enough. I was absolutely livid. I turned to EK and let him have it. You frickin' idiot! What the heck did you do that for? I ought to. I clenched my fist. It took everything I had not to knock him out or toss him in the drink. Get off the pier now!
You can't talk to him that way.
He just killed that bird. You can't feed seagulls. There's a sign.
My son just saved that poor animal, and you were trying to kill it.
Just go. I hate people like you. You're both morons.
Let's go, EK. We're going to tell the Rangers what happened.
My heart was racing. I was positive that I was in real trouble now. I'd never talked to an adult like that before. Definitely not in public. I just knew that the park ranger was going to take us to find our parents, and that they were going to rip me a new one. It probably only took 10 minutes for EM and DK to show up with the park ranger. She pointed straight at me from halfway down the pier, and the ranger looked like he was serious. As he approached us and I prepared for the worst, the biker dude interjected.
Hey, park ranger, can I talk to you alone?
Okay, you stay right there, pointing at me. I waited while the biker dude and ranger talked privately. EM looked impatient. EK was just standing around playing his video game. Then something happened that restored my hope. I noticed the park ranger was becoming noticeably more angry, but he wasn't looking at me. He was glaring at EM like he wanted to kill her. He shook Biker Dude's hand and turned to me. You know what? Don't worry about it. Am I in trouble? No, you're fine. Just do whatever. Okay. Thank you, sir. Then a look of malice came over his face as he turned to EM. He directed her back up the pier, out of earshot. EK followed, still playing his Game Boy as he shuffled along. Even though they were pretty far away from me, I managed to make out a few words coming from the ranger. Words like, waste of my freaking time, get out, and it's not a threat, ma'am. And I do believe I could make out a couple of words from EM. She mostly just made drunken banshee noises that were difficult to decipher, but I did hear her say something about her lawyer and owning someone or something. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure that EM ended up with a lifetime ban from the campground. At least I hope so. Either way, I never saw her again after that. I'm not sure what Biker Dude's relationship was with the ranger, but I'm lucky that they knew each other. Who knows what EM told the ranger? Well, we know that the biker already didn't like EM, as it appears that most people around the area weren't happy with her there. And he'd already confronted her, so I guess he was probably just like, look, hey Ranger, I know you're gonna be upset with this kid because of what that lady told you, but she's the one who's causing the real trouble around here. And he probably just told the Ranger the truth. Probably just said, hey, this is what happened. And that's the thing, isn't it? When you tell the truth about an entitled parent, it'll make anybody mad. The EM in this story has been nicknamed Drama Goblin. DH stands for Dear Husband. We've been friends since we were kids. She literally has the same mindset as when we were kids. Ever since we became moms, I've tried to distance myself because of the way she is as a person and how she treats her family. Her husband and DH are best friends, so though I'm low contact, we're still civil, and she just doesn't understand why I won't spend any time together. Anyways, enough backstory and on to the adventure. My 32nd birthday, I had a sinus ache and I laid down to take a nap, while my DH played a few video games a few feet away. The power goes out. Flipping the breaker back doesn't help as it won't totally flip, it's super tight. Drama Goblin is married to an electrician. He is also my dear husband's best friend. My DH calls him and he's at home taking care of the kids because Drama Goblin can't be bothered to look up from her phone. He just got home from doing storm work down in hurricane territory. Her husband says he figures he knows what it is and he'll be right over. My family was sitting in a very small older house in the heat for an hour or two before he showed up, with Drama Goblin and their 4 children. Did I mention we didn't have power? The first thing out of her mouth was, I can't handle this heat and I need to charge my phone. Her husband explains why they are here again. She just says, oh, and sits down and starts playing on her phone. Her oldest has autism and needs to be monitored pretty closely, or he tries to run off or climb, or just generally do something to hurt himself or others. He's gotten out and been found by strangers playing in traffic at least 3 times that I know of. She asked my 6-year-old daughter to take her kids outside and watch them. I objected, but my dear husband said I could also watch out the window. We have a trampoline and some larger yard toys for our kids. Her other kids are all between 5 and 3 years old. None of them are potty trained. She blames the children for that, by the way. Drama Goblin then proceeds to sit on her phone and whine about the heat, or that the kids are too loud, while the men are figuring out the problem. I'm getting things done for them and holding the flashlight. I'm also going to the window every minute to check on the kids. The problem is a bigger fix than Drama Goblin's dear husband figured. They need to make a trip to buy an essential part before the store closes. We're also nearly out of daylight. Her kids are starting to act out and my daughter is exhausted at this point. Both the younger ones had accidents that I cleaned up because Drama Goblin couldn't care less. My dear husband calls the store to see if they will hold the part. If he leaves right then, he'll make it 10 minutes before it closes. Another part he needed he wasn't 100% sure of, so Drama Goblin's husband was going to go with him. They explained the situation to Drama Goblin. She literally stamped her foot and said, "But what about me? I can't stay here. Can you take us home?" Her dear husband explains there's no time. She starts holding her head at the side and was literally whining like my 6-year-old when it's bedtime. "We will go with you then." At this point I spoke up. They don't have time to dress your kids and load all your stuff in the car and make it on time. My husband is already worrying, pacing because we know what's coming. She flips out. She said her husband couldn't go until she decided what she wanted to do. My DH by that time says, "F this, I'm going," and goes. Drama Goblin full on starts crying and saying she didn't understand why they couldn't just wait a second until she decided if she wanted to stay with me or go with them. Her dear husband tries to explain that they have very little time. He starts getting aggravated because he knows my DH may get the wrong part. I would have taken her home, but I don't have a big enough vehicle for all 5 kids and her. She slams her butt down on my porch, goes full out tantrum mode, claiming nobody ever took into consideration her thoughts and feelings. Her autistic son at this point is very tired and very worn out, and he too starts throwing a fit, which makes the other 2 antsy. He wants his dad constantly. It's almost like he hates Drama Goblin. All her children act like that. They see their mum doing that, and their dad starts loading up stuff in the car. Before her tantrum is done, every single child, including Drama Goblin, was on my porch stomping and crying. It was unreal. Her dear husband snaps. He tells her to get her crap and he will get the kids. She always brings a large purse, a backpack, and several other bags of things she thinks that she will need. None of it is for her children. I help her gather her things while he loads the car. She sniffles up at me. "I don't know why everyone is so upset with me." I tell her it's because the men were fighting daylight and store hours so they could get this done, so my family could have electricity that night because school started the next day. And my dear husband and I both work. That it seemed like she was putting her own comfort and self above my family, and it didn't feel good. She said she never tried to delay them, but she just needed to decide. I said they didn't have time for you to decide, that they needed to either go or stay right then. She gets to the car and her dear husband says, "Did you tell OP happy birthday?" She snaps, "No, it's not a birthday. I know all my friends' birthdays." She stops for a second and thinks, then says, "Is it your birthday?" I just nod because it's not a biggie, and she says happy birthday, and they leave, as I hoped, to drop her off. Shortly, the entire group, my dear husband, her dear husband, Drama Goblin and her kids, show back up, while both men hurry to rig up my electric because the main part won't be for a few days. Drama Goblin stayed out in the car the whole time. She didn't dare come in. Either her husband had gotten through to her, which I doubt, or she's found some reason I've slighted her, and I'll get an inbox full of what makes me a crappy friend in a few days. I don't know if you'd call electricity a basic human need, but it has become essential to a modern life. It powers every single appliance and device in your house, so unless you want to be sent back to the Stone Age, it's something you want to prioritize to, get back up and running. It's astounding how blind the Drama Goblin is to how much of a priority this needs to be and how much limited time they have to fix it. I don't think I've ever seen an adult in real life throw a full-on tantrum like that, apart from public freakout clips on the internet. But that would be a pretty shocking thing to be like, okay, we're all friends, we're all civil here, and then all of a sudden you've got this adult crying on the floor because they want things their way when you're just trying to fix the electricity to your house. A little bit of backstory. My mum started becoming a bit of a church freak every year for the past few years, as much as she goes to church every Sunday and drags me with her, even though she knows I don't like it. If I say no, she'll bring up something like, "But when you want to do something, of course we have to do it right, because it's always how you want," and it's driving me nuts. I still go, and I'm lucky to have a couple of friends there that I can chat with outside, while my mother is getting her soul blessed for the 3rd time this month. I, female 18, have a sleepover at one of my best friend's house for 2 nights in a row, Friday to Saturday to Sunday. She knows, even talked to the girls' parents, which were out of town. The night between Saturday and Sunday was really fun, and we watched movies and laughed a lot. We went to bed about 6 AM, even though we weren't that tired. I set up my alarm at 8:10, because I knew she wanted to go to church with me. She insisted again. Fun fact, I had no signal at my phone in her house, but she did. So I talked to my mum through my friend's phone a couple of times the days before. I wake up, see that she didn't call yet, and go back to sleep thinking that I'll hear when she calls, not knowing my friend had the phone on vibration. I wake up at 11:50. I immediately panic, knowing my mum is as angry as heck with me. I think, Well, might as well stay a bit more and delay the inevitable. So I stay until 13:30 and then get ready to go. I leave, get to the bus station in 10 minutes, wait for the bus 20 minutes, get on the bus at 14 and something, get home at 14:40 since I had to change buses. While on the road to the bus station, I call my brother and ask how angry she is. He says not very angry. Afterwards, I call my mum and she seems somewhat annoyed and cold. I thought it wasn't that bad. My brother comes to pick me up in the car, since from that last bus station to our house is a 35-minute walk up a hill, and said that mum is a bit angry as he saw, but that she is also delusional about church and the fact that she is so angry it's all her fault. I get home, say hello, and the crap show begins. She starts screaming at me about how I'm such a horrible child, and I can't even hold to my own word. How I'm a jerk because even though I know she called, I called my brother first. How dare I? She continued yelling about how I'm ungrateful and I don't care about my family at all, even though when she and dad are gone for work, I do most of the house chores. Cleaning, washing dishes, doing my homework, etc. and take care of the animals we have because otherwise she gets angry. She even got angry because I left my charger at home and thought I did it on purpose for my phone to close. It didn't though, because my friend had the same cable, but still. I can't say anything because she keeps interrupting me. She screams one last time that I have nothing to talk to her about and slams the door. I thought that was it and I started tearing up a little because such a wonderful weekend got ruined in 2 minutes by my mum. I go in my room and start tidying up a little before she yells that lunch is ready. I go in to help, as freaking always, and she starts complaining again. But this time not screaming. Wow. When we sat down to eat, she starts saying even more. OP, you either start learning for your driver's license and get it, or you're welcome to get out of my house and win your own bread. As long as I support you financially, you have to do as I say, since you are no longer a little kid. I hardly swallow the food and start tearing up again, trying to understand if what I did was so darn wrong. I know it wasn't. But the fact is that this bullcrap of hers continues through the years. She used to take my phone and check my texts and see where I was, because I used to lie a lot, because of her being like this. It's absolutely flabbergasting. I am so disappointed, but sadly, not surprised. It's really sad to hear a story like this because I'm sure that the mum cares about her kid in some way, but she's just going about it all the wrong way. Nobody wants to listen to a parent who's just always angry at them and always yelling at them to tell them what to do. I heard a story the other day of some really good example of parenting. I'll leave a link down in the description below. It's just such a different way to do parenting that I think more people should learn from, especially entitled parents.
Submit your story to be read on the channel at voiceyherestories@gmail.com and join our Voicey veteran community at r/VoiceyHere. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. Alright Voicey veterans, I'll see you in the next one.